offsprings of that family come out.
Now here's my question, Mika. And I'd love, like the ladies to chime in, or maybe when you can call in. The number is 202-683-4570 *5. Unfortunately, we don't have a lady in studio today, but I know we have a lot of ladies in the audience.
I can change my voice.
I know we don't want that change
Hatutaki hiyo
voice. Yeah,
nonsense.
talk hapa. But
Magaidi nyinyi.
I think you went there.
I couldn't help it, but
No, but-
blood nonsense.
yeah, but seriously, we, like, why do you think this is happening? Because I think sometimes from my view, my perspective, I think sometimes we're not listened to as men.
No, we're not.
Whenever we bring up this conversation.
No, we're not.
Whenever I bring up this conversation,
No,
I feel
you're
like
not,
I
bro.
feel like we're not being listened to, and I think that's where like things get lost, and maybe sometimes we give up too quick, and we don't articulate ourselves effectively in a way to make other people understand what's happening, because this changes. Society has changed so fast. We came from a place where we saw like our fathers being very powerful.
Right.
And we're now in a place where sometimes the guy is there, even the guy's leadership in the household is being challenged. When I say being challenged, it's there's this thing of talking about everything has to be mutual, everything has to be 50-50. No, whenever there's leadership, there's and this is where I think I'm gonna agree to disagree with some people. Yes, there should be consultation, but there has to be a clear leader. There's no such thing as co-leadership, and this is where I
And
think
that does not require a degree.
that
Carry
does not
on.
require a degree.
Just checking.
There's no such thing as co-leadership. This co-leadership thing that people talk about at where everything, like we both have to have
Finje.
there has to be someone who has a final say, because the things that you're gonna disagree on, and with having someone with a final say doesn't mean that the opinion of the other person doesn't matter, but there has to be leadership in order to give direction. And I think when we sometimes talk about this, sometimes this gets lost in translation, like a lot of there's a lot of noise that comes out of it, and people tend not to listen to it.
I'll say this, and of course now I think Ntava helmet,
Yeah.
Kevlar, bulletproof vest, and everything. Right now, what's happening is there's a lack of male role models to influence the boy child. And now, circumstances surrounding that, not sure. I can't say. But like now, for example, me was raised by a single mother.
Mhm.
But her brothers, to me, replaced
Your uncles.
my uncles replaced
Yeah.
them there. So there was that influence of unaona.
There was a strong male presence.
Yes. And nowadays, there's a lack in certain situations, there's a lack of a strong male presence. And by strong male presence, I mean that presence that will instill what you're talking about. Like, my friend,
Will inspire.
will inspire that, boss, if you're going to head a household, this is you need to back this way. You need to, this needs authoritatively, you need to handle things this way. There's a lack thereof. If there is or has been a lack, you find that, when we talk about mama's boys, these are things that I gradually see around my environment. There's nothing wrong with being a mama's boy because you love your mother. But at
Mhm.
the same time, like you say, there are certain things that were instilled in me by my uncles, you'd be like, hold up, wait a minute. Out utaguruma. There are times when there's a guruma, like there are times you can be like, you disagree. And you decide, you know what? If the ship is sawa tukifloat kienda kaende. Lakini if it floats, we're together. Unfortunately, sometimes the man or the dad or whatever does not really, at some point in time, does not really get that unconditional love. And it is very, very, very clear. And we were having a discussion, with some of the boys, and, we were like, most guys, most guys, I don't know about daughters, but I know, you start appreciating your daughters more as some of these things as they open up. But sometimes your old man becomes a lonely guy. Your old man, even if, let's say, for example, he's not hanging out with his buddies, or let's say, for example, unfortunately, if his buddies have passed on, he's a lonely guy. Because sana, the boys will call the mom, visit the mom, spend time with the mom, leave something with the mom. Right? But the mzee himself, nakuja wanasalimiwa, watu wanaenda kuangalia madhe. Watu wanakuja wanasalimia madhe, wanamsalimia mzee, wanaenda kuangalia madhe. But the man himself, when I say, like, even like, yo, mzee, what are you doing? Let me come pick you up. Let's go kula nyaki. Let us go, whatever. I'm not saying that people don't do that. I don't know. But me, from what I've seen and from what I've experienced, and by experiencing, I mean talking to guys who have been in a situation, you find that guys are the ones who tell you know what, sometimes I think we don't do our fathers enough justice. We don't spend enough time, because sana, who always comes to visit in the US? Your mother.
True.
Who is always getting angalia watoto, come and look after the kids or whatever? The mother. Kama anapewa kitu, ni mama anapewa kitu. Chances are guys have, like, I've never thought, wacha nisukumie mzee
kakitu
$20. Mothe, kula lunch.
I think it's the way we're brought up societally.
So you see, and that is why
that of mzee,
because even it goes into the difference in terms of Mother's Day celebration versus Father's Day celebration. You know what? So we are here. Let us take up these celebrations that tumeletewa. Now we have come into this society. Tumepewa Father's Day na Mother's Day, sawa tuachukue. Fine. Tume accept. But how we treat our fathers versus how we treat our mothers is different. What do you guys think? Carry on. And I know you guys are thinking, because like now me and Ali were in one group of schools, raised by single mothers. Yes, Micah. Let me finish. Hold on. We are raised by single mothers. But for me, I had my uncles there, and it is something that was reaffirmed.
I think same thing with Ali.
Anyway. Yeah, but for me, it was something that was reaffirmed. When you look back, the reaffirmation was there. It's not that they just came out and said we were there for you, but you can see, like when you meet, when you start seeing things, you're like, you know what, this was theirs, my uncles, and I have to give a shout out to Babakar, aka Francis, Franco. That guy is my mom's BFF. Like that mzee has been there, right? And I truly, truly appreciate now more than back in the day what he has done.
Now, one thing that I would like to say, because in this generation now there's a higher percentage of single parenting or single moms,
yes,
than there was during our time.
Yes.
But one thing that like that I can say from experience of being raised by a single mom, and this is to all the single moms out there, is that as a single mom, you cannot be the father of those children.
No, you can't.
Like you cannot, okay, not necessarily the father, but you cannot provide that male influence.
You cannot.
That's needed,
and you never will.
And you can't. You just can't.
No.
And there's certain things, like if you're raised without your father, you miss out on.
Yes.
Like that you pick up, like along the way. You know, very simple things sometimes. You know, like I remember like when I learned how to tie my shoelace. You know, like I was actually a bit, like a bit older. Even things, simple things like tying a tie. You know, like sometimes it's a very simple things. So that's why it's important to have um a consistent male figure. It could be an uncle if the uncles are not around. It could just be someone responsible. It doesn't have to be someone you're in a relationship, because relationships sometimes are not consistent. I mean, if you're in a relationship with someone and you know that this is going somewhere, I think then at that point it's fair to have them come in, like as the male figure. But it's very important to try to find a male figure who's gonna direct uh your child to start doing guy things. And when I say guy things, is a sense that your child is gonna go out there in the world, your boy is gonna go out there in the world, and he's gonna have to be dealing with other boys. And he needs to have a template and an understanding of how to do that.
Yes.
Like just how to be a man, or just how to be an older boy. It's very important.
Right.
I sometimes see, and this of course we can differ in opinion. I sometimes see, like some single mothers, like raising their boys, and these boys now start tending towards certain female things. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's very important.
Va helmet.
It's very important to get this guy, like hata kama ni kitu kama sports, for example, which a lot of guys love sports. It's important to have someone who's gonna expose him, like to that side. Because it's one thing, like, and here's what I tell people: it's one thing to say, I am so proud of my son, like he does, and household chores are for everyone. But it's one thing to say, I'm proud of my son, he does this household chores, like he does this, he does that. But it's another thing once you see your son with another woman, and seeing your son serving this woman now like the girlfriend or the wife.
Mm-hmm.
Serving this woman, it hits in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
It hits in a different way. Even when you say, like, oh, boys hawakuwa wanafanya hivi, but my son can do that. Now, when you see your son with another woman, the wife or the girlfriend, and you're seeing him, now serving her,
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you, single mother, it's gonna hit a very different way. And that's why it is very critical that you find a consistent male figure, and you also find male spaces where the boy can just go and interact with other boys. Wapigane, they go watch sports na nini. It is very, very critical for a boy who's growing up, like in a household that's headed by a single mother. It is critical, and this, listen to me now and
It's
thank
coming
me
from
later.
from people who have been raised by single mothers.
Yes, this we're talking from experience. We're not talking from
No, not from
yeah.
the young Micah. Then we go to Omosh.
Mika bado yuko single.
No, Mika yuko hapa.
Oh.
Mimi no
Sorry.
No, you guys have said it. Like you've mentioned most of what I'm saying, but what I say is like I understand the different dynamics based on how the situation that led to you being a single parent or somebody being a single parent. But I think the biggest mistake that we do is assuming that you do know that somebody can be a very good parent but a very lousy partner to you, right? Like this guy can be the worst husband, but he can be the best father. Or this lady can be the worst wife, but she can be the best mother. If we would learn to take our own emotions out of parenthood, it will help a lot in how we perceive and how we get to doing this. And then I just agree there's some people who are shitty parents. But getting back to what we said, like the appreciation or misappropriation of that father figure in the household. We have to get to understand that where we are right now in society, we cannot want to say that we want men who are like our grandfathers and you don't want to be like your grandmother. We are in a society whereby right now the economics and the socioeconomics and even the social life of how society is dictates us to live on our current situations right now. Like, forget trying to get tradition and just picking the aspects of traditions that we have. If we could get to a point whereby we know that parenting right now is not a thing of gender, but rather on your own personal skills, on caring and taking care of somebody, then we will not be having a lot of this issue whereby we're seeing situations where you tell somebody you're not a man, or you're not acting like a man, or you're not thinking like a man because of how you perceive or how you think or how you assume a man is supposed to be. Uno, Mother's Day, ulifanya nini? Right? Maua, dinner, spa, and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Father's Day,
Socks.
ukanunuliwa nyama
Pie.
ugrill.
By the way, you grill on your own Father's Day celebration
Or you are bought for a grill.
or grill.
George Foreman.
Like, you see, it's when it gets to the point whereby we come and see, like, okay, there's no bigger role. A mother is not more important than a father. A father is not more important than a mother. Both of them equally need to work together to raise these children. Then we can be able to say that we have figured out how this parenthood is. But as long as we're having this gender wars,
Yeah, I mean, of course, this gender wars, like they don't help because they amplify things that are, like Jacobo Simba put it, some things that may be in the fringe, but the gender wars amplify them. And you see, when the gender wars amplify them, when people are reading them, like when people are constantly reading that, they tend to go and act it out at some point. So that amplification, yes, it may not be a representation of the reality, but it's planted into people's brains, and people will start, like acting on that, or thinking that this is the norm. So Jacobo asked, why does it hit differently? I think he's referring back to the conversation I was having. Like when you're a mother, you're raising your son, like unataka afanye hivi na hivi na hivi ndani ya nyumba. But at the same time, it's also important to also guide your son to letting him know that he's also a leader, like he's also a decision maker.
A head of household.
Yes. In as much as, like a single mother can be very powerful na afanye, like mtafanya kila kitu equally. If there's a boy and a girl in the house, mtafanya kila kitu equally, mtaosha vyombo equally, mtafanya hivi na nini. But now, when this same mother, like sits out and sees the son, like being treated in a certain way by a woman, it hits very, very differently. Like vitu was in a change. I don't know exactly what it is.
Vindu vichenjanga.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is, and that's the reason why it is important for you to empower, your son, to make him know that, like ataye, he's the man, and he's gonna be the head of the household. Because you also don't want, like your son to sit there and feel like, now when nitaenda kuoa, things are also gonna be equal in this way. You have to assume, like, and I know there might be some disagreement, you have to assume the leadership role as a man. You have to come in as the leader, unapologetically. And by the leader, I don't mean a dictator. I just mean, like there has to be someone who provides direction in that household. And I think this is where, like we, and it would have been very nice to have a woman on panel. I don't want to speak on behalf of women, but I think it's important, like in the household, to allow for there to be one leader.
I think rightfully so, it's Father's Day. So it's okay just being boys, just talking and expressing, so that
Mimi
mamas
siko
can
kwa hiyo kamati yenyu ya nini unapologetic. Siko hapo.
So
Haya.
now, give us your comment.
Give us your views.
Talk to us.
Actually, you know what Ali is. Mika, ulikuwa unasema kitu?
No, go ahead, Omosh. Wacha Mika ataingia.
Okay, so I was I was saying what Ali is saying, it's interesting. That feeling that Ali is talking about, I don't think it matters whether the parent, the mother, is single or with partner. Ile you get Nikao, you've been elevated. You move from my child to
someone's spouse,
to someone's
husband.
spouse,
Yeah.
or the man in a house. I don't know if
Makes sense.
You are,
Because if essentially, because this boy you're raising at some point is going to give you grandchildren, meaning at some point.
potentially.
Potentially. Potentially. So this guy you're saying used to be your baby, you've raised him or whatever, will actually live. My uncle always says, kids, watoto ni wapita njia. They're sojourners.
Yes.
And do you live with your mother right now?
Asha.
Do you live with your mother right now?
Asha.
Do you live in her house?
Asha.
Neither does Mika.
I haven't lived
But
with my mother in a long time.
But if anything, your mother is going to come and visit you.
Yes.
Correct.
When she comes and visits you, who's probably going to be at the door welcoming her?
It's going to
Your
be
child.
Your child.
Your child
Yeah.
says, show whatever, nakuja. Your wife welcomes her in, whatever. Mnaketi.
Yes.
Carry on, sir.
So that getting to run your own household, or should I say your own corporation, you're now the CEO of your own corporation,
Yes.
or you're the president of your own little country within your 4 walls or 3 walls and a door. But
4 walls and a door, bro.
whichever way you want to put it.
Yes.
The bottom line of it, like Ali is saying, and before even we go into biblically, because now if you go biblically or you go into religion, sasa hapo ndio unafungua Pandora's box, na kuna wale watu wasema mazee hapa sijui nini, but there has to be a head of the household, and the head of the household is normally the male. Point blank, period.
Yes.
That's the unapologetic part, where it's like there's not unapologetic.
Right.
And it does not mean that you are then a dictator.
Right.
Just like Ali was,
Ali.
that's just like Ali was alluding to. You're not, but your mother, your own mother, looks at you totally different, especially akija kwako. Ameingia kwako. Amekaribishwa na bibi ama watoto wajukuu. It's different. Then there's this thing called kuna huyu mtu utamjukuu. The connection wa huyu mjukuu na nyanyake. Yani, in fact, sometimes unajiuliza, where was this when I was growing up? Huyu mtu si ule mtu ninajua.
They soften.
Wacha even soften. It's ni kama they are cardboard na wamemwagiliwa maji.
Bro, there's a time I tried to discipline Aiden. My friend. My mother was like, what are you doing to the baby?
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Where?
The baby does no wrong.
Where?
Wewe ulikuwa unakulwa makumbo.
Bro. Kwanza tunasemanga gunyo zile za kwa thighs, but between the thighs.
Yeah.
Us guys, you would be hit with you would be hit with anything that the hand could reach.
Yes.
And God forbid, it's that kabelt.
Unakumbuka the young girl was here, Audrey. What did she call Amwiko? A death instrument.
Death instrument.
Yes.
But you see, here's the funny thing. Now we are talking about our mothers.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about
our
fathers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you see that, and that right there is where now that, because I'm trying to bring it back. Our fathers, they sort of get sidelined. Yes, they were disciplinarians. Mzana soma gazeti. Me I hear stories. Dada nakuja kwa hao. Anaketi. You fear that guy. I never got to experience that, but you fear that guy.
That mzee was the mzee. We agree. But ile connection ya kusema ati sasa sisi ni maboys. Ati tumekaa chini tumefanya ati sijui yeye kukula happy sijui nini. Something that I actually see some guys now having the pleasure of doing. Where guys like
with
actually
kids.
with the dad. Like he's actually with the dad and they can sit down and have a beer together and say, ati I'm with the mzee, we are catching pints, nini. And I'm like, wow. And for me, unfortunately, my dad died such a long time ago that I never had that. I never had that experience where my father walked into my house where I'm running my household. Now I'm mzee, karibu, keti chini, and he's being, tuko backyard, tumweka kalingala yake. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Never had that experience.
Mm?
Mika, I don't think so. And the reason why I say I don't think so is I had the pleasure of replacing my dad with, unfortunately, my dad passed on, his older brother. Sasa now is who sasa yeye ndio alikuwa mzee. So every time I went home, I made sure any free chance, time and space, niko na ye.
Yes.
Now, he treated me just like his own son. And I think every time alikuwa ananiona, anaona bradhake. You know what I'm saying? So for him, connection yangu na yake ilikuwa nikaa si ni mandugu, lakini bado mimi ni mtoto yake. And it was very different. At this point, naweza muuliza, by the way, unakumbuka mkituchapa kwa nyumba, kila mtu amewekwa chini na tumepigwa sisi sote. Na kuna kitu tulifanya. Mbona mlikuwa mnatupiga hivyo? He didn't have an answer. Because that used to happen. When something happened in the house, in fact, questions were not asked. Everybody was lined up na munararuliwa wote. So nobody used to say anything. You knew that whether you answer, damned whether you don't. Kwa kuraruliwa ni lazima. Mutararuliwa. You didn't sit on the seats with the sofa sets with the kakava zile vitambaa sijini nini zimepigwa crochet sijini nini wapi whose TV are you turning on kama hujaweka ile kitambaa hapo juu ile waga na maji not thinking that electronics that could those are things because you didn't want mother to come and do heat test. Akifanya heat test na afanye TV is on anaambia mzee by the way hawa watu waliiba kifungua ama walifanya sijini nini wakona nini. It was bad.
Enforcer.
Kwanza those mashtakas that Madhe's brought, those ones were so lethal.
At the point when Madhe took ashtaki to Mzee, ujue ni kifo. Because Mzee never had breaks. Madhe had breaks when she was beating you.
Of course.
Mzee didn't have breaks. Once he started, his breaks would be, the only person who would break him is either his brother / Kazo or his mother. But your mom was not breaking up that. So the relationship with Mzee is, you are not in the room with him. You're not there to be seen. You're not there to be heard. And it was that one of akiingia, unamletea viatu zake, unatoa viatu zako, unamletea slippers, you turn on the TV, you nini gazeti nini, and you disappear into a hole. And until anaguruma jina yako tena.
And you see, that's the narrative that we have of our fathers.
Correct.
Being those...
Yes, they were silver.
But mothers...
The fear. Mothers were
soothing, whatever.
We could handle even the anger. We could handle.
We could, and that in itself, sometimes I think in the African context, or let's say in the Kenyan context, is what we have and perceive, right? So over here, Kenyanjui says, by the way, technically, Jacobo says technically, you can argue that women have financially been at a disadvantage. So being dotted on this kind of a balance of this equation, I think he lost it.
No, but I think in light of what Jacobo is saying, like we are living in this time where things are changing so fast.
Right.
And of course that's one of the things that fathers today have to deal with. You have, like your wife or the mother of the household is making more money than you.
Okay.
So that's something that it's something new. It's something that the previous generations can't tell us, because like Jacobo said, like women were always at a disadvantage. So it's a good thing, that women are making more money, but I think it's also important for people to figure out how to deal with that.
Exactly.
And still, like maintain
the career.
like the role and the respect that you have, like as a father. And this is both sides, both on the father's and the mother's side.
So Kenyanjui says here, happy Father's Day, guys, and thanks for the show. Your show provides a psychotherapeutic platform for fathers to virtually express their thoughts and see other points of view. So thanks for my show. Karibu sana. DJ Trisha says, traditions could not allow you to sit with dad mpaka umetoa mbuzi ya wazee bwana. So let me say this. Yes. However, that was taught. It was instilled, and you knew.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you didn't sit in the
you didn't. So if that was the case, Like now, for example, let's say in let's say the Kikuyu culture, right? Like there was a program that was followed, and this was instilled, right? So when if you guys want to listen to a very good thing that explains that Matire gave me Tabitha,
Yeah.
it explains how things were back then, and that's how things worked. And you know what? They existed and they survived. So I agree, but this was instilled in you. So if it was instilled in me, guess what? When I get a son, I'll
You pass
instill
it
the
down.
same.
Yeah.
If I get a daughter, watashikana na mama
The
yake
mother, yeah.
and instill, which I agree. Mother actually ran the family. Kelele za wazee were just kuchapana from reports. They farm, manage the animals, maintain contact, family TC, wazee ni jina kwa kwetu tu. No, I disagree with this. I will say this, for us, how things were back then, there were roles. So mama anashughulikia nyumba, anaenda kama ni kupika, whatever. This guy, anything that pertained ng'ombe,
Finances.
whatever. Because even like for us, butter trade was goats. That was our currency. But other things, you know, like there were guys who were special. Like now, for example, there were welders. There were guys come and you were building. They would build.
Yeah. They were specialists.
They were specialists back then. So it's not that guys whatever. And then there was kulikuwa na ratiba, kulikuwa na motaratara, kulikuwa na there were things done in a certain way.
Yeah.
Right.
There was a process.
There was a process. Now here we have Western influence coming in to
Tuingilia, the family unit, yes.
Structure.
Yeah.
Whether you are in Luo Nyanza, whether you are in Central, whether you are in Kachmeg, whether you are in Eastern, hata kama ni Masai.
Yeah.
There's a way things were done.
Correct.
Then there's a way things that whatever. So industrialization came, whatever. So there's a way that we now have to, because us, our generation is a transitional.
The sandwich, the transitional generation.
We're the transitional generation because
we are stuck in the past and we're in the future.
Yeah.
We have to straddle both.
Correct.
And that is why when it comes to Father's Day, and this is something that I learned from one of my guys, one of my boys, you know, and I'll give him a shout out. I'll call him Bombay. You know, he's not. I'll call him. He's called Bombay Pendaraha. You know, he painted a picture of how sometimes we really do neglect our fathers, because sana we cater to our mothers, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but in essence, we sort of sideline them there.
Because we think he's strong.
But yeah,
exactly.
But that's the thing, and I think also
and that is where it needs to change.
Also, this image that I think we've been cultured to show, even when you're suffering and you're struggling, you still have to put up.
Yes, but
they don't say.
Yeah,
but you see, like now for
you're
them,
not allowed to be vulnerable.
Their DNA has been instilled from a long time ago, right? So it's up to us. Like now, for example, today, your mzee, your dad. Like, hey, mzee ni aje, fanya hivi, kunafanya, I'm coming to pick you up, let's go for a pint. Let's go for lunch, let's go for dinner. What are you doing? Let's go. And I sometimes see that with like now, my mom's, I'm going to say my mom's best friend, you know, Babakaro calls him my soulmate. Those two are inseparable like this. My mom and her older brother, wako hivi.
But they went through a lot of stuff together in the trenches.
In the trenches.
Yes.
They were in the trenches. But those two, wanakuanga hivi. But that mzee, and you guys, I always tell you stories about that mzee, because me and him will go, I'll hang out. You know, like in Kikuyu, we say the gira, I'll go to his the gira. So we'll go to the basement. We designate the basement the gira. We go, we chill, and we just sit down and we just hang out and we talk. And we talk and we talk. His son, you know, Lenny, same thing. You know, they will vibe. They will, you know, and I see, and the way he communicates with us,
the cousins.
Yes.
At your level,
at my level,
your generation. Yes.
He communicates differently with the toys. Communicates differently.
Story different, yeah.
But you guys, when you watch this mzee, you're like, you know what? This guy, I would like to be like this guy.
But you see, again, that passing on down of the baton.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's doing it across the generations, whether it's your generation or his kids.
Yes.
You know, he's doing it across.
His kids.
And he's there as well
Yes.
for the ones who need that father figure, aka uncle, or you know, someone I call him guka. You know, you know, he will straddle those fences as necessary.
You know, like one of the most important rituals is when unapelekwa kutai.
Yes.
Mzee anatupeleka. Mina brother.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Well, I guess it would make sense.
Yeah.
I guess it would make sense.
That so for me, you know, when I think of, and that is why I think sometimes when we celebrate, and by the way, I think, you know, like you said, you know, being that sandwich generation, we may not celebrate it the way Americans do it, but
Yeah.
we find a way, you know, we're like, you know what, unamwitia kambuzi or something, you hang out, you know, partake of the sweet nectar, although sometimes his wife doesn't like that, and I'm putting that on air. Hi, mom. You know,
It's all right.
but
you
still,
take one for the team.
I'll take one for the
He's
team.
earned
But I think I have come to really want to push the notion that yes, we love our mothers, but because if you have a dad, you know, me and Ali, Atuna, and you know, mzee, your mzee rested.
Yeah.
But if you do,
Take
mzee
care of them.
yuko, I'm telling you,
And
just go in and just hang out.
The ones who are left, like you're doing it with your
Yes,
your uncle
I'm doing
now.
it with my uncle.
The one who pretty much took on
Yes.
the daddy role.
Yes,
And there's nothing more precious than kukana huyo mtu.
I'm
Mko
telling
hapa,
you.
just chilling and it doesn't take a lot. 2 hours. That's like the best 2 hours of the guy's life.
Maze,
Until the next time you come back and then you pick up where you left off. You know, so for me, I always, for whatever reason, I connect a lot with my friends' parents, you know, and I mean, Ali can tell you, you know, I don't know what it is, but we connect. But for me, the way I look at it is that these are the parents we have who are here. So if my mother is not here directly in the room, but Ali's mom is here, then guess what? My mom is here as well. Because she's taken on that role.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how we were raised in the village, quote unquote, right? So not everybody looks at it from that perspective. And that goes back again to, you know, to that mzee role. You know, like, kama huyu ndio mzee yuko katikati yetu. Sasa yeye ndiye atakuwa baba yetu. And we will take direction from him, and because he's at that, yuko kwa hiyo rika, you know? And so that's why we don't differentiate between uncle and father. They are the same.
yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
aunt and mom.
See,
Same.
like even in Kiswahili, you have terms like baba mdogo na mama
Correct,
mdogo.
correct.
Yeah.
And in Kikuyu, Fafamo Nini.
There
It's the
you
same
go.
thing. Fafamo
Yeah.
Nini, Fafamo Koro. So Fafamo Nini on the paternal side,
Mhm.
your uncle, your dad's older brother, Baba Mkubwa.
Mhm. Baba mdogo.
Baba Mdogo is
Yeah.
the younger brother. And but Micah,
We don't have a word. I don't think we have. I'm trying to think if we actually have a word for uncle. Well, no, we do.
So as we say mama.
we do have a word for uncle.
Kikuyu say
However,
direct,
the term of respect would be your baba mdogo,
Baba
but then
mdogo.
you just say, you know, you'd say it in Luo,
But
right?
yeah, but in Kikuyu they will say Fafa, you know, like say, you know, so they then say, you know, I was talking to Fafamo Nini and Fafamo Koro. I was talking to whatever dad, or you know, there's dad, but on the paternal side,
Okay,
they say Baba Mkubwa and Baba Mdogo.
got it.
Because, you know, like now for me, being that my mother was supposedly married out, right?
Yeah.
Uko. So these ones, I will not identify them with that. Like now, for example, my cousin Lawrence, Baba Hanya,
Yes.
will refer to now his dad's brothers because he's there. So Baba Mkubwa ama Baba Mdogo. Over here, Yakobo says mama was making plans usiku, mzee anasema kwa meza. Msidanganyike, walikuwa powerless. Heck, we don't have uhuru minus women plotting for men. Same as the USA, the slaves escaping at night ran through mamas. Here's a very interesting question. Solly, who runs Kenya's rural economy in Kenya today?
It's the women.
It's yeah.
The women, you know, the circles, the women circles, the ones who are, you know, growing the fruits, vegetables, and tomatoes and potatoes and all that. It's the women.
Right. Kobo, fathers are appreciated. I believe that the lack of appreciation is hyperbole.
Yeah, cover.
From what I've seen, from what I've seen,
and
is not.
and-
Forget whatever.
and I think things get amplified. Things get amplified when the father now maybe retires and watoto wameenda. That's when now things get real. Mika.
Nilikuwa nataka kuambia Yakobo, do you know that situation whereby the father comes here, brings the family, anaenda nafanya kazi, anakuwa mechanic, anadu job, watu akishasoma, siku ile ana retire, unampataka kwa bar peke yake amelewa. Anarudi home kulala, like a lonely solo life.
And I've seen that.
Ushaiona mtu amechukua baba yake akaenda kuishi naye kwake? Wanachukua mama?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very rare.
It's very rare.
It's
yeah.
very
That's
rare.
actually very
But
true.
I think that then now sometimes probably goes to that whole kuwa na dume wawili kwa nyumba. I think. Again, I think. But it's also that one that from an African society perspective, I don't know if I'd say it's frowned upon. It's like mzee, it's like you can't raise your dad.
But you
I don't
see,
know if
that's
that
a
makes
point.
sense.
That's a point where I think the mzee goes to procure a second wife. A younger
Correct.
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
A companion.
Yes.
Mtu waku sasa wakumsaidia. Because
Yeah.
sasa huyu ni msaidizi. Huyu
Yes.
si hata
Yeah.
mtu wa watoto kulea
Yes.
watoto. Huyu ni msaidizi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I think the main essence was to paint a picture of it's Father's Day, but I think we need to delve down and I think really open that window of we need to really truly appreciate fathers. Again, your mother is given unconditional love. Your child is given unconditional love. But sometimes your father is given love on condition. And I gave that example, I think, when we were discussing about, when we were talking about what's coming up. When a mama meets a guy, today a mama meets Ali. When she goes back to her friends, what they're gonna be? What will be the first question? What does the guy do? No,
Yeah.
that is fact. But if it's boys like yo, how does she look like? So I think that in itself is a different measure of how we look at things. And by the way, it's Father's Day, guys. Your mzee, take him for dinner. Sometimes just go and hang out with him. Go to his house, chill with him, just hang out.
So story a socks, na tie.
Whatever, just go and hang out. Sometimes
Cow
he
sweater.
doesn't care there. Because you know what?
Sweater,
Ata cow sweater, it doesn't matter.
torch.
You know what Dombolo taught me? Said, Dombolo taught us, the time you're selling us, you guys, everyone has got 24 hours. Even Bill Gates,
Correct.
whatever, everyone has
Yeah.
24 hours.
Mhm.
Yes, at one point you were supposedly the sponsor. Because if you want money, talk to your father. If you want money, talk to your father. So you are the sponsor. But the person who was spending time with you was who? Your mother. Hey, how are you? Hey, shule, whatever. Hey, this, that, the other, whatever. But take time, spend time with your dad. Just hang out with the dude. Appreciate that you have time with your father. Me, raised by a single mother, Ali, Omosh, Mzee,
Man, my
Alito.
mzee, my mzee's been gone for a while, man.
So Micah can chime in, but we're about to wrap this puppy up. Micah, final thoughts before I wrap it up. Kabla kucheka. No. Not closing thoughts. What do you think? Especially for Father's Day, ujumbe wako.
No, for Father's Day, clearly I would say this, we have this perception whereby we think we're grown, we think I've come to find that some people have some bitterness with their parents on how their parents raised them, especially having grown here and seen how other kids are raised.
Wow.
And you just have to understand is that these guys were learning as they're going too, just the way you're learning as you're going. So give them a break. As Micah said, spend time with that old man. Not even just for Father's Day. Every other day. These guys are lonely. Wako peke yao
Kabisa.
wamenyamaza tu huko. Mpigie simu mjulie hali. Usimpigie simu sasa unataka shamba yako ilimwe, salo unataka sijui unatengeneza nyumba, sijui
Unatafuta tractor.
Yeah. Mpigie simu, mpige story, mjulie hali kwaje, ongeri juu ya siasa nini. Like, they took care of us. It's time for us to take care of them.
Correct.
True.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Appreciate them.
Aya,
And then if you have somebody, you've started your young family, maybe things are not going okay, and ni mtu anataka kwa maisha ya watoto wake, he's always there. Like, it's just more than paying child support, or just providing for the kids. Like, let that relationship build between that guy and the kids. Let him play his part. Parenthood is not just money. Parenthood is more than money. So let him be that parent. Msinunulie tu socks leo.
Tucha amesema nataka hizo socks.
Tucha nataka socks zake.
Or socks that design.
Inakaa Tucha kona
Funny
collection.
socks. Akona zile funny socks. You know those things are funny. The funny ones.
But like, be thoughtful of that gift. Be thoughtful on how you send that message. Usitume kime forward you na watu.
Happy Father's Day. Forwarded many times.
And you can only send it one time.
Like, be creative. It's just you typing something awkward. Ya kijinga tu nini baba nani tano tena whatever blah blah blah, like, yeah. As in, let this man feel appreciated.
100%.
Ni hayo tu.
Ladies and gentlemen, wahenga walinena kilicho na mwanzo hakina budi kuwa na mwisho. Meli imetia nanga. We are about to wrap this puppy up. Happy Father's Day, Micah Ochka. Twende kazi.
Happy Father's Day. Uno. And hata wengine wameitwa daddy once in their lifetime. Happy Father's Day.
Man, we are daddy to so many people. It's pathetic.
Kaende katambe.
Happy Father's Day. Yeah.
Asante.
So just want to tell everybody, all our listeners, everybody out there, happy Father's Day. Enjoy this weekend. Happy Juneteenth. You know, it is a double celebration weekend for most of us, right? Like, just want to tell everybody, enjoy yourself this weekend. Be careful. Hey, squeeze you injury expensive. Toka and enjoy yourself responsibly. Don't drink and drive. But if you're staying inside like some of us, sit inside, be blessed, enjoy yourself, take care of yourself. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Bwana Micah Och. Happy Father's Day back to you and to all the fathers out there. See, this is the time when people say those who have the fatherly roles, nini. We've just chambered that stuff over here. So I'm wishing Happy Father's Day to the fathers, because again, there's those parents or those males. I'm being very specific. They're those males who actually do that role. You may not be the biological, but you are actually serving in that capacity, in that role. Happy Father's Day to you, and don't stop doing what you keep doing, because without you, this person who's looking up to you may steer down the wrong path. And as we have seen, especially being diaspora living out here, that lack of having the right male role model who is pointing you down the right path or direction, it's very, very, very critical, because it's what shapes where you go, what you do with yourself, and then how in turn you end up treating the rest of the world, including your most intimate partner, your wife. That's something that's very, very deep, and I think people don't take that for granted. And then you wonder why there's a lot of scorned women out there. It's because somebody's child decided to treat these mamas in a bad manner because they didn't have the correct role model, aka male, aka father or father figure. So it is a very important role, and it's one that we don't take lightly. I know I don't take it lightly. So when I look at the blessings that my nieces, my nephews, my friends' kids, I'm always that uncle. I'm constant. Ile discipline itatoka, but we also have fun while we are doing it. The parents may not like it, but it is what it is. But at the end of the day, when that child is grown and you look back, because I see some of the kids who I've watched growing up, shoot, like my neighbor's kids, man, one of them was born when I was there. I DJ'd at their first birthday party. The kid is graduating high school. I'm like, what? And I've seen this kid growing up. These days, anaendesha gari, nasema, Jesus, where did the time go? They're going to Kole in September. I'm like, and I was just I was invited to the graduation, as well as to, the Nyamchom on Sunday. I'm like, surely, where did the time go? This toyu alikuwaga tu hapa. So it's something that, again, I don't take it for granted. And I really appreciate, when I think back to what our parents or the males in our lives sacrificed for us to get to where we are, and for us to be chosen to even be out here in the diaspora, and we are talking with our pockets for people at home. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
We have our struggles like everywhere else, but indeed it's a blessing. So I don't take it for granted. So just remember, Sunday is, the official Father's Day, but every day is a Father's Day. If you have a father who is there with you and who's still around, don't take him for granted. Hang out with them, don't just get them the socks and the golf ball that's engraved,
and the tie.
And the funny tie. No, hang out with them, talk to them, engage them. You will learn so much. They have so much history that is so rich. There are some things that they went through that they saw. Hii mambo ya kuona makaburu na kukuwa na makaburu. You remember that the guys who, that generation, they're the ones who were actually giving out, they had the pass. They went through these things. And some of us don't, because independence was happened to 1963.
Yeah.
So, for somebody who grew up, who came in prior to 63, guess what? And those are our parents. It's amazing to think that, So anyway, I know it's been a long tirade. Lakini, have a good week. Have a good weekend.
Extremely very long.
It's also a holiday weekend, by the way. Juneteenth.
Yes.
Is on Monday.
Yes.
So it is. This is our second official Juneteenth holiday. Because last year was the first one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a big deal. It's a huge deal. And black people out there, most of you listen to us are black. Please remember, hii ni siku yenyu. Make sure you enjoy it and enjoy your people, enjoy your fathers, and happy Father's Day to my peeps in the studio and those who are outside the studio. Be blessed, stay blessed. See you guys next week. I'll see you.
Okay, asante sana Mosh. Oh my God, finally. That was like 20 minutes.
It's called love.
But we appreciate you, Mosh. And then real quick, there's an event happening tomorrow in the DMV. It's called Women of the DMV. It's the 3rd year anniversary. It's going to be at Hampton Inn Hotel, and that is in 9670 Baltimore Avenue, College Park, Maryland. The entrance is $80, and there are vendor tables available for $250. Anybody who's interested, call the number 571-992-7748. That's 571-992-7748 for more details.
When is this event?
It's tomorrow, 18th June.
And it's for the women of the DMV. It's their 3rd anniversary, right?
Yeah.
And it's for women only.
It's women only.
Right? It's
yeah.
women only.
Yeah,
so
you
women
can drop
of the
your
DMV.
woman. Yeah.
So Pablo, don't bother.
Yeah. Pablo, you just imagine Ruth didn't give you any salams on this one.
Yeah. So it's gonna be 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. Tomorrow. Yeah, and I want to thank the listeners. We had some very great conversations today, and we're gonna be back here next week. Is next week or July 4th? Bado, I think Bado.
You're 2 ahead. Relax,
okay.
bro.
I'm ahead. I'm in the
Is
future.
he 2 or 1 ahead?
2. He's 2 ahead.
I'm 2 weeks ahead. Next week. Next week is
he's 1 ahead.
Yeah, he's 1 ahead.
Yeah, I'm 1 week ahead.
Slow down, brother.
Because we're gonna be taking a break on the 4th of July.
That weekend.
That weekend. But we thank you so much. We hope you'll be here again with us next week. Please let us know, like what conversations you want us to have, what topics.
We are always welcome, actually. Yes.
Last week's topic was a big hit. We are sorry for the abrupt end of the show.
We had
those
coming back.
mitambo
we had
issues.
Madogo Daniels.
Yeah, but that topic on life insurance, I think it's something that people are so interested in. We're
We'll
gonna
bring
do.
back-
I think we need to revisit it.
Yeah,
and chop it down, break it down into
Let's see if we can do that next week.
smaller into smaller bits and pieces
Yes.
because we
Yes.
did
Yes.
we already did the big.
Yeah.
So
We
need
let's
to
let's
bite
break
size.
it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
And almost have him do a presentation like we're the ones who are getting
Yes.
the insurance.
Okay, all right. So that's we're gonna decide on that. Na kwa wale ambao wanataka kunipigia simu, nambari yangu bado ni ile ile 1-800 mteule. Na operator akishika simu, mwambie unataka kusema na mjukuu. Na akikuuliza ni mjukuu yupi, mkumbushe ni mjukuu yule yule wa Masai. Because I'm Kenyan by blood, American by design, Masai by choice. Sichagui, sikagui na sibagui. Kwaherini.
Aiden, Daddy loves you. Jerry, Daddy loves you. Nimo, Daddy loves you. And Rehema Waitherero, congratulations, graduating high school. Godfather loves you. Until next week, be blessed.